As a Jewish man born in Hungary, Yona Friedman was placed into a hotbed of World War II, where he developed the body of his beliefs in freedom and individuality. After the war, he completed his architectural school in Israel. The reflection of his past against the freedoms he felt in his new home only served to solidify his beliefs in freedom, citizenship, and individual rights. Born in Japan, Kenzo Tange spent his early life in China before returning to his birthplace and attending the University of Tokyo. During his studies, he became highly influenced by Le Corbusier's work. This is seen in his regard for the development of cities based on circulation by automobile and the importance of the megastructure. These attributes placed him solidly alongside many modernist architects of the time. Friedman's project, which we will look at today, is his Ville Spatiale, which is not so much an individual plan, but more of an idea which in its very nature can be implemented almost anywhere. Much of this project exemplifies the beliefs which were previously discussed of freedom and individuality, while also maintaining the functionality of providing a solution to urban sprawl and underutilized land within cities. Tange's plan for Tokyo in 1960 also served as an exhibit of his ideals. However, it introduces a term which is still in use today, the megastructure. Incorporating the value he places on the automobile as a primary means of transportation, he has stretched the borders of Tokyo by means of a new area of development over Tokyo Bay. Ville Spatiale is very specific in its unplanned version of planning. The first and most important factor was to allow for the people to shape the development. It was seen as a structural skeleton upon and within which the population would be able to develop living and work quarters that suited their needs. To support this growth, the structure began as columns, raising the city above the earth, using a new spatial region previously unconsidered in this manner. These columns functioned as service cores, access points, as well as structure. Flexibility of the space in the air also meant that it would be constantly changing and evolving, or devolving, as Friedman believed the architecture's impermanence should be as strong as its historical permanence. The plan for Tokyo reached an area of development as well that was previously not considered, building across water and providing the infrastructure of highways and subways to access new regions built over top of the water of Tokyo Bay. The concept of decentralization of the population was strong in this time, and his project was a fresh break from the existing method of sprawl, which historically was just the urban environment leaching out into the neighboring countryside bit by bit. By creating a new typology and moving people quickly in between their homes and the major city through major highways, the plan for Tokyo laid the groundwork for the ideology of many of today's major development projects. Between these two projects are quite a few similarities and differences. There is no way that you can look at each and not believe that both Tange and Friedman to be dreamers in the world of architecture. Each of them faced the problem of urban crowding and development and created a utopian movement in a single project, even if it was unrealized in its time. The major differences are how each one perceived the people who would be using these new spaces and what kind of expectancies they would have. For Friedman, it was individuality and freedom to develop as you need, while for Tange it was providing access and expediency to the population through major development outside of the city. Friedman also considered the ground plane to be pedestrian and always allowed for the existing experience underneath his city to only be interrupted but never stopped. Modern planning often does not seem to line up with the majority of the theories put forth by these two groundbreaking architects. Generally, we see more and more development of massive, dense structure that aims to provide for as many people in as small of a space as possible. Much of this current movement is due to the simple economic factors, which both of the architects which we have discussed have a more ethereal quality to their plans, which focuses more on the individual experience than the realistic expectancies of planners and developers.